Oh, the lore! My brain!
Hey guys, before this video begins, I just want to say this is a blind playthrough, so please do not share any spoilers. Don't hint towards any upcoming events, areas, characters, enemies, or boss fights. I want to experience this game fully blind. However, tips, tricks, and advice is always welcome, so by all means provide your tips, tricks, and advice in the comments of each video down below. It is greatly appreciated, but nonetheless, hopefully you guys enjoy my Let's Play series of Donkey Kong. Thanks guys. Hi, my name is Ganvious, and I, unfortunately, rage quit Donkey Kong Land. This is my confession. I mean, you saw me rage quit the game, and I was done with it. And I am done with it, but I won't be fully done with it until I check out this video with you guys. This is called Donkey Kong's Overlooked Adventure by Good Vibes Gaming. So there will be a link in the description down below to the original video, so check out their channel. And this is 15 minutes long, and I'm very excited because apparently they talk about the history with Donkey Kong Land, especially it being portable on the Game Boy as compared to Donkey Kong Country, which was on the SNES. So they're going to talk about the history and apparently some lore around Donkey Kong Land, that kind of stuff, so I can get more information about the game because, again, I obviously didn't finish the game. I don't think I was anywhere near done with the game. So, yeah, I just feel like I'd be more satisfied with this video and this extra tidbit of information regarding Donkey Kong Land. And then we can move on to the next game in my Donkey Kong journey, that being Donkey Kong Country 2, and I cannot wait. So, nonetheless, enough me rambling, let's check out this video, and yeah, let's see what it's all about. I respect Donkey Kong Land enough to watch this.
Every kid was excited for, and we were all blown away by the graphics.
I was blown away.
None of us had ever seen anything like it up until that point. And
so
the fact that I was even aware of it was a huge deal, as this was well before I got into the gaming scene through the magazines of the time. Donkey Kong Country was nothing short of an event, one that I couldn't take part in because my family had gotten a Sega Genesis.
No!
Now, don't get me wrong.
You messed
I
up!
loved my Genesis. I played Sonic and Comic Zone.
Ah,
and
Sonic! Wait, oh, you mentioned Sonic? Oh, I'm gonna have a meltdown. Oh no! You mentioned the Blue Hedgehog. Crap! God, no! Ah, my Mario-coated heart. You mentioned the competition. Hurts. Don't say the S word.
But it didn't have Donkey Kong. So
Facts.
I begged my parents for a Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
and
it sucked. No Donkey Kong.
Budge.
No
I already
Yahoo,
had one
man.
game console. Why did I need another? So I ended up not playing it until the Wii's Virtual Console. But in the meantime, I found an alternative. A little game that feels lost to time because barely anyone even talks about it.
Damn.
Donkey Kong Land. And that's a shame because this game is so much more than you might think it is.
Listen.
First things first, this is not a port. Well, it features...
This is what the game usually looks like without the color, because I played this game, the little bit I played with color. I needed color to see certain things. And still, I still couldn't play the game. Man, oh man. But hey, that's just how it was back then. Especially portable consoles. That's just how the Game Boy was. And then we got color, and then we got advance, etc. We evolved from this, but man, oh man, going back, trying to play games, especially like this nowadays, it's, for me, man, oh man, it's impossible.
Some reused elements, there are new level themes.
It's still cool to see, because...
And even platforming mechanics.
I still imagine
Country.
Country.
It's a kind of sequel to Donkey Kong Country, where Donkey and Diddy find themselves being taunted by Cranky.
Oh, lore! Lore! Here we go! A challenge for Donkey. Cranky Kong I'm gonna read this. Cranky Kong, aging video game pioneer and primate patriarch, swayed back and forth in his rocking chair as he harassed his grand ape, Donkey Kong, and his little buddy Diddy Kong. Well, I've got to admit, your last adventure was a bit more successful than I ever thought it'd be, he jibed. Of course, put a few fancy graphics and some modern music in a game, and kids will buy anything nowadays. Donkey and Diddy tried to discreetly cover their ears as they stared out into the jungle surrounding Cranky's cabin. The old ape continued his taunting. Back in our days, understand we had an extremely limited color palette to work with, and we still made great games. No way you could duplicate that feat today, Donkey, my boy, no siree. Cranky had been going on and on like this for what seemed like hours, and Donkey Kong finally had enough. I love that. People like Donkey Kong Country for more than just the fancy graphics, you old coot, he snapped. The number of colors, the resolution, it doesn't make a difference. It was just plain fun.
Yeah, and we worked hard fighting K. Rool and his goons,
Diddy chimed in. Both he and Donkey still had the bumps and bruises to prove it. This is cool. Where is this from? Is this from like a Nintendo Power magazine or something? I have no idea. Or is this from like the official Donkey Kong Land manual? I don't know. This is awesome. Cranky nodded his head knowingly. The two youngsters had predictably risen to the bait and swallowed it hook, line, and sinker.
So you're saying that an adventure like your last one would be a success even on an 8-bit system like Game Boy, for example?
Cranky said slyly. That's right, Donkey Kong exclaimed without hesitation. Diddy joined him in accepting the challenge.
We'll even let the Kremlings steal the banana horde again, and this time we'll get it back on Game Boy,
Diddy boasted.
Wait, so what?
Wait, what? They let the Kremlings steal the banana horde? Are you kidding me? Wait. Oh, the lore. My brain. Yo, this is sick. Diddy boasted. Hey, a golden opportunity to get out of DK's ridiculous guard duty training, he thought to himself.
I'll believe it when I see it,
Cranky scowled.
I'll call old K. Rool and arrange everything. You'll wake up tomorrow without your bananas.
So Diddy was like, yeah, you know what? We're gonna let the Kremlings steal the bananas. And then Cranky's like, all right, let me just call up King K. Rool to get that arranged for you. That's crazy. That's insane. Donkey and Diddy looked at each other, realizing they had been set up. So Cranky wanted Diddy to say that. That's wild. Diddy Kong, not P. Diddy. I gotta make sure. I'm very specific about this.
This time, the Kremlings will hide your bananas in all new places around the island,
Cranky continued gleefully.
I'll tell the king to spare no expense and bring out some new tricks and foes for you, too. No more cushy adventuring for you two, no siree.
Donkey could barely contain his anger. He was hoping he could just loaf around the treehouse tomorrow, after all. The Banana Bowl was The Banana Bowl! What, instead of the Super Bowl? What the hell? But he wasn't about to let the old ape get the best of him. Bring it on, old ape! Bring it on! Was all he said as he stalked off to the treehouse. He was going to get some sleep for the adventure ahead. Okay, that's effing cool. That's pretty cool. There's so much freaking character in this, blip of information. So much story, so much lore, so much character, so much chemistry between the characters. This is so cool. This is genuinely so cool. This is great. Anyways, back to it. That's awesome.
For the gameplay. To prove him wrong, DK accepts Cranky's challenge to let K. Rool take the banana horde again and get them back, but this time on the Game Boy. Rare might have been a little put off by the critics claiming basically the same thing. All of this is only in the manual though. There's no story setup or even a small scene of DK bemoaning his missing bananas. Instead, you're plopped on the first world's map.
I need that manual.
Ahoy, and off you go. And at first, it all seems like it's going to be just like the SNES game. It's a jungle theme, the level design feels like the Super Nintendo game, Rambi the Rhino makes an appearance, there's familiar enemies and bonus rooms to find, all while a Game Boy rendition of DK Island Swing plays. It feels like it should, and looks pretty impressive considering this was on the original black and white Game Boy. In fact, this was one of the first games to take advantage of the Super Game Boy adapter to give it some extra color and definition. I don't own a Super Game Boy though, so all the footage is just as I experienced it.
Come on!
It's pretty shocking how similar it feels to the SNES original though. The movement is the same, though perhaps a little
Maybe
looser.
That was the way to play,
DK
I
and
don't
Diddy
know.
have the unique attributes of being strong and fast respectively, and the models are large and relatively detailed. It should be a pixely mess, and stills certainly convey that,
Yeah.
but in motion, it works wonderfully. And while Super
Okay,
Mario
I don't know
Land
about
opted to shrink the
wonderfully.
characters to ensure platforming could easily be seen,
God,
Donkey Kong
yeah.
Land finds another way to combat screen crunch while maintaining larger sprites. The Kongs are always placed just to the side of the center, allowing more room to see what's coming next. More importantly, when they turn to go in the opposite direction, the camera will shift to mirror the standard camera angle, but as the player is adjusting to the new view, DK or Diddy will be all the way next to the screen's edge. It's clever and only mildly disorienting in practice. I was able to swap between country and land with little issue, though inevitably there were times where I was blindsided or had to make a leap of faith. But for the most part, Rare found a way to make it all work. It makes sense too, as a small team of newcomers and vets of the original helped develop the game. Now, so far, this has all been
I don't know
pretty
about
similar,
that, man.
but there are some changes
Hey,
that
listen, it all comes down to personal preference and the person that's playing. I think ultimately that's what this is all about. It didn't work for me, but good for whoever's commentating. It worked for them, and it probably worked for a crap load of other people. So it is what it is,
we
basically.
felt even in this first level. For one, DK and Diddy are no longer on screen at the same time, unsurprisingly. Two, there are these DK coins that are available to collect, but seem to have no use. I'll touch on those eventually, as I jumped in and completely forgot what they did upon replaying this. Finally, the Kong letters have a completely different purpose.
Yeah, what was that
They're
about?
how you save the game. Miss a letter? Saving won't be happening. And later on,
What?
they could be well hidden with some
Oh, that's so dumb. It makes sense, but it's so stupid.
That's how. Okay, wow. All right. Right. I think I forgot who, but I think someone mentioned that in the comments of that video.
found in bonus rooms. Thankfully, bonus
Okay.
rooms aren't as difficult to find as in Donkey Kong Country. I still had to be observant, but I pretty easily finished with a 75% completion rating. And trust me, like Country, there's no point going for 100%, as there's no extra bonus or even a scene.
Got
It's
it. Yeah.
just bragging
Thank
rights.
goodness.
The bonus rooms themselves can be useful, but I'll save that for later. Because, after getting players acclimated to what seems like a simple handheld Donkey Kong adventure, bam! Ice level. And it uses the assets of the ice levels from Donkey Kong Country, making it feel like I just jumped from level 1 to World 4. Ice physics are in place too, making it feel like one of the sharpest shifts I've ever encountered in a platformer. It's not actually that much harder, but it's almost psychological warfare if you're more familiar with the console game. The pits don't ramp up until the second half, providing plenty of time to get used to the ice and introduce a new enemy, a flying pig called Hogwash. It's not difficult, but again, it underlines just how different land is to Country. Level 3 goes back to the jungle and is mostly focused on getting players accustomed to swinging on vines, but level 4 is where another curveball to longtime fans appears, especially nowadays. It's a Gangplank Galleon level.
Yeah,
The first
that
time
threw
the
me
theme
off.
was
I was
playable
just
in a
like, what the
Donkey Kong
hell?
game, as this was released 4 months before Donkey Kong Country 2 and even features the Gangplank Galleon theme. All the ideas players would expect from 2 are there as well. DK and Diddy must climb the ropes of the mast to get higher while dodging mini neckies and zingers along the way.
Wait, wait, how'd he do that? He went right through. How'd he do that? How'd he get through the platform? I could never do that. Is he spoiling like stuff happening in 2? I don't
Not
know.
a hugely complicated level by
I don't
any
know.
means.
I'm gonna
but
try
it
to
had to be
tune that
something of a
out.
treat for those excited for the
Tune
upcoming sequel.
it out.
This level is also the first
Yeah, I'm
opportunity
funny.
for players to discover Espresso, the only other animal friend besides Rambi to be featured in the game. He mostly works the same as in
cool.
Country with his ability to glide
I
over
remember-
gaps,
I remember
though with the
Espresso.
added bonus of being able to jump on and defeat enemies, including zingers. Espresso rarely appears in the levels themselves though, as he's usually relegated to bonus rooms. Level 4 does introduce one more element that wouldn't see a return until Donkey Kong Country 3. At the end of
Wait,
level
what?
4 is a special boss.
Stop talking. Do I have to skip ahead?
Bomb Barrel
Yeah. I don't hear anything.
Kind of originated
Yeah,
from World
yeah,
1,
great.
and this finally explains what those DK coins actually do.
Okay, why
There are
explain it?
certain bonus areas that can be found where a barrel will shoot out extra lives when a switch is hit. The amount of DK coins you've collected determines how many attempts you get at these lives. And if you're really good at it,
it's like an arcade thing. You're like collecting tokens to use in an arcade machine. That's what that's like. Okay, I see.
you can easily fill up the bottom of the screen with hearts.
Yeah,
They're great
I
to have,
never did that.
especially as the game can get tricky as time goes on.
That's
But
so cool.
as for the rest of this first world, it mostly focuses on
didn't
adding
even know
more
that.
ropes and barrels to the set themes and getting players acclimated to the Rising Challenge. There's not much to comment on until we reach the first boss, the completely unique Wild.
Not much? That was hell.
There's
All
not
of
much
this?
to comment on until we reach the first
Oh,
boss.
not much to comment on. Okay. Well, I don't care.
Unique
That was
Wild
all hell.
Sting, a flying manta ray that isn't even that much larger than Diddy and continually comes in from the sides. It's not really all that difficult, putting it in line with the bosses of Donkey Kong Country, but it does feature a boss theme that goes harder than you'd ever expect.
The theme is cool, I will admit. I do love the soundtrack
This
in
is
this
the
game.
first example of a David Y song not being redone for the Game Boy and is instead composed by Graham Norgate, and every new song is fantastic. Seriously, have a sample.
I like it. This is so trippy to look at. Like, it's so odd. Yeah, no, the OST is great. That's one of the things I love about this game. Or that I can appreciate in general, is the OST.
It's little wonder he would go on to
What
do
the
more
hell?
at Rare, composing the soundtrack to Blast
What?
Corps,
I don't
and
even know
working
what I'm
with
looking
Robert
at.
Beanland on Killer Instinct, GoldenEye, and Jet
Oh!
Force Gemini.
Oh, cool.
After Rare, he handled the soundtrack.
Fun
to the
fact, I
Time
never
Splitter
played
series and
GoldenEye.
was the
Let me know
audio
if you guys
director on
want
the
me to play
Crisis
GoldenEye
trilogy.
for the first
It
time.
certainly-
People go nuts over GoldenEye. Let me go back a
He
little
handled
bit.
the
Sorry about
soundtracks to
that.
the Time Splitter series and was the audio director on the Crisis trilogy. It certainly pumps you up for such a basic boss. And really, that applies to all four of them. Giant Clam is a matter of positioning and reflection, while
Yup.
Hard Hat is almost a warm-up for King K. Rool,
Hard
whose
Hat.
boss battle is mostly the same as the SNES Showdown. With Wild Sting out of the way, World 2 brings the Kongs to Kremlantis, home
This
to
is
water
all
levels,
new.
and the temple and coral level themes from Donkey Kong Country. There's not as much to note here as the game
Ooh,
settles into its groove,
big ol'
but
fish.
the underwater ruins are notable as this is where most of the
cool.
new enemies in the
I
game
like that.
appear. Fangfish and gloops aren't that different from standard water enemies, but the flappers do offer a challenge as they tend to be the biggest obstacles. Water levels in general have a different feel from the SNES game simply due to the lack of on-guard. With no way to attack enemies, it's all about dodging. Kremlantis could feel the most like the SNES game, except the latter half of the world does add some fun twists to the formula. The swirlwind obstacles in the ruins offer
This
up
is
the biggest
wild,
change,
just
as they're harmful to
watching
touch
this,
from the sides, but can be bounced
honestly.
on from above. Each time they're featured, the focus is to adjust to the bounce to move forward, or find ways to not let them block the way to bonus rooms or extra goodies. They're just different enough to make them feel unique. In the same way, the new Nemo enemy in the coral levels twist the gameplay just enough as the player must swim and avoid obstacles as fast as possible to stay ahead for most of the level.
Oh, that's
Certainly
cool.
trickier without on-guard to help clear other enemies along
Hey,
the
let me pause again real quick. Fun fact, I love underwater stuff. I love the ocean. I love sea creatures. Like, I'm a sucker for this stuff. This and, like, everything space, everything water. I love it.
the path or dash ahead. That brings us to World 3, Monkey Mountains and Chimpanzee Clouds, and is where the cave levels are placed, but there are two new themes featured here. The first is a mountainside that DK must climb while avoiding the occasional falling rocks. It's certainly the most vertical a level has been up to this point, but the truly standout theme are the clouds. Wild geometry, zingers everywhere, and needing to stick to platforms that follow airflow. This is where I felt the difficulty ramp up as a kid, and it was no different here. In fact, I was hit
This
with a
is nuts.
wave of nostalgia.
See,
as I entered the
I
second
looked at
cloud
this,
level
I'm like,
where the
what the hell?
platform
I'm like,
changed
I don't even know what I'm
direction
looking
every
at
time
right
it
now.
went Side or
See what I
DK jumped. Managing my position while taking down
Oh,
enemies was
God,
hard enough,
man.
but there were moments that took me quite a while to figure out the jump timing to move forward. It was also around this time that I noticed that finding all the Kong letters was getting trickier. I often missed only one, meaning that I was still out of
All
luck
of this to
saving.
save your game
Thankfully,
is wild.
lives are plentiful, but even finding all the bonus rooms was happening less often. I distinctly remember having a game over in this section as a kid and repeating levels just because I wasn't able to save. The game is short enough that it isn't a massive punishment, but it was frustrating having to do it over when I was younger. Thankfully, the final cloud level is a bit of a reprieve from the small platforms and allows Espresso to shine outside of a bonus room. However,
Oh, cool.
I must say that arriving
What
in
is
World 4 as
this?
a kid gave me a bit of a thrill.
It
One of my
is-
earliest games
Oh, I was about to say,
was that arriving in World
Is this a city? Like, are those buildings in a city? And you're near the top, the rooftops?
World 4 as a kid gave me a bit of
I
a
don't know.
thrill. One of my earliest games was Donkey Kong Classics on the NES, so I was familiar with the original
Oh,
arcade game.
nostalgia. Look how far we've come, ladies and gentlemen. Oh god, I muted it. No, I didn't mean to mute it. Sorry. Hang on. There we go.
But there was something cool about DK returning to a city setting while playing him.
It is
And
a city.
all the level themes were completely unique to boot. From exploring a construction site to climbing a building to running around inside a blimp, every level of
That's
Big Ape
cool.
City feels wholly unique to Donkey
Big
Kong
Ape
Land.
City.
Now, one of the common ideas floating out there is that Big Ape City would eventually become Mario Odyssey's New Donk City, as both claim to be the city that Donkey Kong originally kidnapped Pauline in. I find it somewhat doubtful that Nintendo intended the connection, but it's a fun tidbit at the very least.
Interesting.
And Big Ape City is certainly where the platforming got more demanding, with more enemies to deal with and smaller platforms to cross.
Oh my
The screen
god.
crunch was at its most
Little
notable here
frickin'
too, as I had to
balloons?
make more than a few leaps of faith. But I do have to commend the game, as it always showed what was coming. There would be a glimpse as the platforms moved, but that was just enough to make the proper jump. It never reached the point of feeling unfair or frustrating. Then there's one of the more standout ideas when Kong letters need to be found before pressing a switch. They are then used as platforms to continue to the next area. It's a novel concept and not too out there, considering
That's
the game has already
crazy.
featured literal flying pigs and platforming across clouds. It's not as grounded per se as Donkey Kong Country, but the
Yeah.
inventiveness helps it form an identity.
This,
And seeing
this,
the levels
this
use
feels like Donkey Kong Country on acid.
chains as ropes and flame barrels as dangerous platforms gives it almost more of a connection to its roots than the SNES game. Frankly, in terms of level design, Donkey Kong Land is pretty great across the board, introducing plenty of new ideas while emphasizing different aspects compared to its console counterpart. It's basically a companion piece, and that's something that just wasn't
Yeah.
done at the time. Corners had to be cut, and Game Boy ports tended to be just plain lesser.
Oh god.
The appeal was in the portability, but Donkey Kong Land feels ambitious. 29 levels and 4 bosses compared to Country's 33 and 7. The levels are just shorter overall. It also lacks extras since Cranky
Shorter? The levels are just shorter? Did we play the same level in the first world? I disagree on that part. Maybe that's the only long level in that or in this game, but my god, it wouldn't end. It would not end.
lacks extras since Cranky, Funky, and Candy are nowhere to be seen.
Okay, look
Even
at those
defeating K.
renders.
Rool feels uneventful, as it immediately cuts to credits with no fake out ending or a crawl of all the enemies and characters in
Oh.
the game. It's just straight to the credits and then back to the title screen.
Dang.
And as I said before,
And when I reacted to all the boss fights, I realized like it didn't play. It played the K. Rool theme when you actually are on like the ship and everything, but it doesn't play the K. Rool theme when you fight King K. Rool. That's stupid in my opinion. That's so lame.
100% provides nothing extra. Thankfully, the core game is good enough that it really doesn't matter. Even beyond my own nostalgia, Donkey Kong Land is well worth playing, a piece of Donkey Kong's legacy that few talk about. And it continued on as we got both Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3.
It hurts. It hurts again. It hurts so good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna skip Donkey Kong Land 2 because people were saying that's basically Donkey Kong Country 2. There's only small teeny tiny changes that are so minuscule it's not worth to if you want one Donkey Kong 2 experience, eliminate Land and play Country 2. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to skip Land 2. However, people are saying that Donkey Kong Land 3 is genuinely worth it, and it's the best Land game. So I will try out the land games again, or I will be returning to the world of Donkey Kong Land through Donkey Kong Land 3. I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to try 3 and see if I like it, see if I'm able to actually finish the game. So, yeah, that's the plan for that.
which followed more closely to their console cousins. But perhaps I'll talk about those another time. For now, I'd love to hear about your experience with Donkey Kong Land. Have
Yeah, huh?
you played it before? Is this
Yes.
your first time hearing about it? Let me know in the comments, and
Oh, I'm going to write a comment, all right. Yeah, so here's the thing. Again, I respect it. I respect it for what it is. Animations seem fine. Visually, like this seems like it's the best it can be for a Game Boy game. Like this is the best you can get out of a Game Boy, title in general at the time, and everything like that. They really tried. They did, and I commend Rare for that. There's a lot of good ideas here. Music's great. Bosses seem great. Enemies seem great. It's cool. But I would love for there to be a remake or a remaster of some sort where it's more smooth. And if we could get that, then I would love to try this again and have like a bunch of quality of life improvements and stuff to the game. And yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I'll try to be there day one to play it. But yeah, for the most part, I respect it for what it is. It's just not my thing. It's just not for me. But I really enjoyed watching this video. A lot of lore, a lot of did you know, and this and that and the other thing, and this was great. This is a great watch. Check out Good Vibes Gaming, link in the description to the video. And yeah, thanks again so much for watching. Next up, like I said previously, Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm very excited to play that game for the very first time. If you guys are excited, let me know in the comments down below. And Donkey Kong Country 2 is the game where I actually should 100% it if I want to be rewarded handsomely. So with that said, I can't wait. It's probably going to be pretty damn difficult, but I'm very excited. And yeah, that's what's next. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye guys. See you guys soon.